We have a really cool show for you today. We're at Tabacón Cigars and Spirits in Plantation.
Let the Latin pronounce the name of the place, please.
That dude speaks less Spanish than I do. Tabacón Cigars and Spirits. Plantation Walk. It's Whiskey Stars and Cigars, 560 WQAM's event that we have been trying to have for a couple of months now, but the weather
and it started to rain.
I know,
I walked
but
in
at
here.
least it's not a hurricane, and we finally get it underway, and that's a good feeling. So Whiskey Stars and Cigars will be tonight here at Plantation Walk, and the entire 560 WQAM staff is going to be out here. Joe Rose, Leroy Horde, Brendan Tobin, Jay Fig. Obviously, I'm here. Solana's with me. Jimmy's with me. Going to be a really fun night, and we invite everyone to come on out. It'll be in Plantation tonight, 6 o'clock, kind of a little mix and mingle, and then 7 p.m. There'll be a couple of different panels talking sports. I'm going to be talking McRibs because that, to me, is the big breaking news. So here's the situation for today. Gino Torretta is going to sit in with us for a while. Crowder is in New York, as we mentioned this week. He's got the Sports Business Journal panel. It's a big event up in New York, and the Pivot is being honored up there for that. So he's doing that. Gino Torretta is kind enough to sit in for a little while on the show. I replaced a starting NFL linebacker with a Heisman Trophy winner. I think I'll take the Heisman Trophy winner every time. And Solana's here. Jimmy's here. Josh Appel will join us here around 4 o'clock. He'll sit in then, and we'll have some fun. Rob Pizzola is going to join us from the great nation of Canada, and we will talk a little sports gambling with him.
How's he doing this season?
Who, Pizzola?
Yeah,
he literally, people don't understand it because a lot of times
I just enjoy listening to him because he's Italian.
He's great. I love him. He's one of my top 5 radio guests of all time. He can talk about anything. Here's the thing about Pizzola that I find fascinating. He literally is a professional sports gambler. So when he comes on, it's not like the typical tout who's coming on to try to sell you a subscription to their picks. He literally is selling nothing. He just does it because we've become friendly over the years.
He's picking for himself.
He pays his bills by gambling on sports. He has done it for a long time. He studied economics. His father is an economist. His father was mortified that he went into professional gambling and used his economics, prowess to further himself in sports gambling rather than a traditional economics degree. But he found himself gravitating towards that. So he does well. Now, he'll fluctuate week by week, but he starts every season with a bankroll, and that's his career. I mean, it's literally awesome what he does. So, and he is mortified by my gambling because my gambling, he does it with everything he does has a mathematical edge.
He has rules.
He does.
And he has certain things he shies away from.
He doesn't play from his gut like I do.
I listen to you and some of your decisions to bet. It's kind of like, I'm bored. I have to bet.
Yes.
And that's not always a good thing.
He hates it. It's it's the antithesis of what he's all about because I don't know anything about a mathematical edge. I don't know if it's a good line, a bad line. I don't shop the line. You know what I mean? Like
I remember an investment analyst that I worked. It was a colleague through another business, and he left the business and went in the baseball analytics with DraftKings. Remember when the fantasy baseball? Yeah. I think he ended up winning like 7 figures, and now you're seeing a lot of MIT guys that are
and if you have a proclivity towards mathematics and sports, you can, or poker. I mean, a lot of these poker players, I used to sit down at a poker table when it was hot. I would sit down at a poker table. I would get my ass handed to me because I don't know.
You were just going for entertainment.
I was going for, maybe I'll pull 3 sevens on the like I didn't
You didn't know there was odds and probabilities that those dudes had memorized backwards.
And I didn't know that they knew exactly what I was holding because
I want to keep that to yourself.
Really, it's really what makes me me.
You're devaluing my University of Miami degree.
I lean into it. I try to lean into it. So we're at Whiskey Stars and Cigars. I'm wearing a Swisher Sweets shirt because I'm a big proponent of Swisher Sweets. And we'll talk some cigars and whiskey today and football with Gino. And we'll have some other great people stopping by. there was a bit of news that jumped out at me this morning, which was Adam Schefter. He reported that Ray Lewis was one of the finalists for the FAU football job. And I was like, wow, this is great. And then I got the McRib news, and everything paled in comparison.
Trump's all.
It's really, for me, you know how I feel about the McRib. You love the McRib.
No question.
Right? It is
one of my favorite.
Now, what makes the McRib so special?
The sauce.
The sauce, of course. And they soak it in that sauce. It is a plank of pork. McDonald's doesn't even take the time to make it.
Might be a compliment, but
right.
We'll move on.
McDonald's used to take the time to kind of make it look like a mini slab of ribs.
Somebody had pulled the ribs out.
They would have like indentations. Like they don't even do that anymore. It is just a rectangle of pork, but they slather it in this sauce, and it's crazy good. And McDonald's announced today, not only is the McRib coming back on December 3rd, so don't eat too much on Thanksgiving, because you got to have some space a week later, because we're going all in on the McRib. But McDonald's is selling gallon jugs of the McRib sauce. It's going to be on a website, and it's going to be first come, first serve. I'm actually.
When do they start?
I believe.
Can you give me one, because I'll forget.
Well, I'm going to try hard. I'm setting it up as if it was like, I don't know, a Bitcoin mining situation, where they have millions of computers,
right,
and they're trying to mine for as much Bitcoin as they. I'm setting up that system to try to get as many gallon jugs of the McRib sauce as I possibly can, because obviously that's.
Have you figured out the Bitcoin thing yet? I'm in the investment business and still haven't figured out.
So I'll tell you, Rob Pizzola is big into crypto. He's been into crypto for a long time. I happened to buy Ether, in 2017, and so I've been sitting on that for a while. So
is that good?
Yeah, it's doing very well. It's second in command to Bitcoin. Ether is.
So when's your selling point? What's your sales number?
I want to see it up at where Bitcoin is, up in the 90,000s. When I bought it, it was in the 600s. It's in the 3,000s now, but I want to see it up in the 90, 100,000. Right. This is a long-term play for me. Okay. Long-term play.
Do you know what it does?
No. But Ether apparently is very important to the blockchain of crypto.
Okay.
So
I don't know what that means.
But none of them,
I'm just curious.
None of them have an intrinsic value. I mean, none of them have the.
But you're comfortable investing in that and not Microsoft.
No. I have plenty of investments in traditional equities. What my broker had told me years ago, and I really don't use a broker. I trade on my own just for fun. But I've had investments since we got married. I have Apple probably at $21. That's split a million times over. But he said to me, if you have a little fun money, this was when Bitcoin was coming to be, and he said, if you have a little fun money, take some, put it in Ether, so you're not. I think Bitcoin was at like 30,000 at that point. So he's like, put it in Ether, Ethereum. Everybody calls it Ether now, but Ethereum, and it's fun money, and just forget about it. And that's what I've done.
Okay.
So Pizzola can tell you all about crypto, though. He's gone big in crypto. Regardless, the Ray Lewis news intrigued me, but the McRib news trumped all of that. And I am so very excited that the McRib is coming back.
The first thing I think of the Ray Lewis news, was the ink dry on the termination
for Tom Herman?
Tom Herman? I mean, like, you already have a finalist list of replacements?
I have seen subsequent reporting that says he's not getting the FAU job, but I don't know. It seems like,
that just seems like pretty fast that you've come out with the finalist list and the ink's not even dry, and the guy hasn't even pulled out of the parking lot yet. It seems.
The guy stunk, didn't he? They had a terrible record under his.
Man, he was the cat's meow when he was at Ohio State, then went to Texas, and
there's been a couple little mini runs where FAU's made a little bit of noise in football and then have petered out pretty quickly. They had a nice little run to the Final Four in basketball, though.
Yes, they did.
Dusty May. Gino is going to be on the call this weekend for who? UCLA and USC?
And USC.
Oh, you love the West Coast. So, but you'll...
I don't love a 10:30 Eastern kick.
but you'll be on West Coast time.
No, my body will be on East Coast time.
Well, listen,
and I can't take the red eye home.
You stop by In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, there's no question In-N-Out. That might be, I think the In-N-Out just outside of LAX is the busiest In-N-Out
is that so?
In their system.
They're building the biggest In-N-Out in the world in Vegas.
Really?
And it's like 20,000 square feet.
There's nothing wrong with the one you go to right behind the strip right now.
Right behind the strip, right behind it.
That's what people tell me. I don't know if I've ever gone.
I may have been there a time or two. Well, let's do headlines because we're out at Tabacon Cigars and Spirits, and we're going to be out here till 6 o'clock doing the show. And then at 6 o'clock, Whiskey Stars and Cigars will get underway, and we'll have some fun tonight for all the QAM listeners who want to come out and join in on the fun.
Zach Krantz just texted us.
What did he say?
Ray is not a candidate. Maybe that's more from Ray.
I did see a follow-up story that said, yeah, he's not going to get the job.
Why didn't you call Tom D'Angelo? You know he knows everything Palm Beach.
Is Tom D'Angelo still writing for the Palm Beach Post? Get out of here. God bless
Palm Beach Post doesn't cover the Miami Hurricanes, I don't think.
I love Tom D'Angelo. I love the Palm Beach Post.
The best.
You ever read Frank Cherubino in the Palm Beach Post?
No, but he's got a good name. Got to be Italian.
Longtime columnist, but general columnist, not sports columnist, general columnist. But he plays live music outside my apartment in downtown Boca, a little French place on Friday nights. He's like an every he's like one of those guys that does a little bit of everything,
jack of all trades.
And I'm seeing this guy play a little saxophone, and I said to my wife, I go, I think that's Frank Cherubino. Sure as hell, it's Frank Cherubino playing live music at Tartelette. Anyway, I digress. Let's start today with headlines and our friend Alejandro Solana.
You got a little bit of that in you as well, jack of all trades, but instead of playing a sax, you collect tubs of McRib sauce.
Well, hopefully, my fingers are crossed. I mean, this is a new endeavor for everyone.
You don't know the name Edwin Pope. He used to get Edwin's autograph in the Orange Bowl.
I love Edwin Pope. He is the godfather of sports journalism in Miami.
All right, so the Panthers, we'll start with some local news. The Panthers, they lost to Winnipeg last night. They shut them out here at Amerant Bank Arena, but then went up to Winnipeg. I was very uneasy about this whole situation, a home and home.
It threw you off.
In South Florida and then in Canada. Very weird situation.
Threw you off.
Winnipeg got the best of the Cats last night, 6-3, even though Panthers, third period, hit the post like 4 times.
Yep.
Could have won that game. They're off today. They're in Chicago tomorrow. Chicago, Illinois, as Jimmy would say.
Illinois.
8:30 p.m.
I mean, this is who I surround myself with, Gino. The other day on the air, Solana thought the moon was a star.
Allegedly.
Did he just watch the Martha Stewart documentary?
I don't know.
Consolation.
I don't know where it came from, but he thought the moon was a star.
That's somewhere. It's up there,
up there.
It's a celestial. It's a celestial thing.
It's not here.
It's not a star.
All we really learned is that Hawk believes Wikipedia.
Educated in South Florida.
I wasn't even on.
Educated in South Florida, Solana.
He got waitlisted at UCF. That's not even a joke. Have you ever met anyone who was waitlisted at UCF?
Why do you tell everybody that?
It's 65,000 students at
they've
UCF?
never waitlisted a person because there's too many slots to waitlist someone. He probably wrote on his.
Hold on, let me look at the application. Pulse? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him in.
But then they go, let's look deeper into this one. This guy's writing about the moon being a star. They're like, we can't in good conscience.
You don't have to tell everybody that I got waitlisted.
I'm just telling Gino. He's a friend of the
show.
Solana,
pause up.
There's some Dolphins notes, but I love this story right now. So, Daniel Jones, Gino, benched in New York.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Daniel Jones benched 300 pounds or something. I was like, what? Yes, Daniel Jones. They went to the third team quarterback.
Well, how about this? They're trying to phrase this as they're shutting him down. Here were the quarterbacks in order taking reps today at practice. Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, of course.
Big fan. Gino loves him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Drew Lock, second.
All right.
Tim Boyle, third.
Our guy,
Tim Boyle.
Literally the worst.
Boyle rules.
Worst Dolphins quarterback I have ever seen.
Well, at least the GM still has a job up there. One of them in New York.
Giants does, yeah, not the Jets.
The Jets
Yeah.
But you saw the report.
Well, they're shutting him down because he's got a guarantee for injury at like 40. If he doesn't get injured, then his guarantee is only 20. So the owner made they say those business decisions.
That's
the
a
guy
business
runs out of
decision.
bounds. Said, let's make a business decision.
They should have made a better business decision when they signed him for $240 million.
Did you see the Hard Knocks offseason?
With
the one
Saquon,
meeting, and the owner goes, but Saquon is our fans' favorite player. And the GM said, well, I don't want a $40 million quarterback handed off to a $10 million running back. I'm like, don't get mad at the economics.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Why not have two great players in the same backfield?
Yeah, they kind of screwed that up.
Yeah. Or maybe one great player.
There was a report today from Diana Rossini and Zach Rosenblatt, who write for the Athletic, some more information behind the scenes of what went wrong with Joe Douglas, the general manager, Robert Saleh. So apparently, after the Jets lost a Week 4 game to the Broncos, Woody Johnson, the owner, suggested to the entire coaching staff and the general manager that they should bench Aaron Rodgers. And in this story, they write, the idea of benching the future Hall of Famer sounded so absurd, one coach asked whether the owner was serious or not.
So I would ask the same question. That's ridiculous. After the 4th game? That's ridiculous. I cannot imagine that.
I can't imagine an owner even.
You know what? That's
forget Aaron Rodgers. An owner being in that meeting outside of Jerry Jones and maybe Al Davis.
Right.
That'd be the only two I would think.
It almost strikes me as the Stephen Ross BS that he told Brian Flores to tank games. And it was like probably a flippant comedic comment.
We should have sucked for luck.
And
I will go to my grave on that.
He's not playing anymore either.
Well,
we tanked for Tua, and we got, in my opinion, the best quarterback in that draft class.
They tried to suck for luck. To be fair, do you remember the guys they were putting out there on the roster? They had 40 names nobody had ever heard of, Gino, except Brian Flores found out how to win games with those guys. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Bengals that year. Which
they weren't sucking for luck during the Brian Flores era. That was way before.
That was probably Philbin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was for
way
Joe Burrow
before. Yeah.
That was before you were getting your UCF deferral letters.
All right.
Hey, I was still on the radio back then.
Can you imagine how many?
I remember a show we did. Me and Steve White did a show on advertising patches. Are they going to put them on uniforms? And I remember mentioning that was when Henny was the quarterback. And I go, they should sell one that says Jack Daniels because we're better than your quarterback.
He loves Henny. That's it. He bought a Chad Henne jersey.
Last Dolphins jersey I bought before Tua, before the Uno, was Chad Henne. I refused to buy another.
You should be ashamed you bought any of them.
That's why he got waitlisted at UCF. They're like, cross-check this guy with the list of people who bought the Chad Henne jerseys. They're like, oh, we got a match? Yeah, waitlist them.
Here's some Miami Dolphins notes. Kendall Fuller remains in concussion protocol. So Mike McDaniel said, quote, pessimistic about him playing Sunday versus New England. Listen, doesn't matter. I mean, I hope Kendall Fuller gets healthy. They don't need Kendall Fuller to beat the New England Patriots on Sunday.
Agreed. I think they should roll them with no problem. But I am bad bet bunny.
Bet accordingly.
Yeah, bet accordingly.
Don't expect Bradley Chubb and Cam Good to return to practice just yet. That's what Barry Jackson wrote in the Miami Herald. That's what McDaniel essentially said today. Dolphins, Patriots, Sunday, 1 p.m., Hard Rock Stadium. And in the NBA, the big news, the Celtics ended the Cavs' unbeaten streak at 15. They beat them yesterday, 120-117, an NBA Cup game as well. And the Celtics put an end to one of the greatest starts ever in the NBA.
Bet the house on Cleveland over New Orleans tonight.
You had Celtics yesterday, and you were right.
Bet the house on the Cavs over New Orleans. What's the line on that?
Don't ever listen to this man's betting advice.
I'm bad bet bunny.
I think you bet the Marlins like 8 games in a row the start of, last season or 2 years ago, and you're like, They can't lose 6 in a row. They can't lose 7 in a row.
You want to know? You want to hear something
Can't
funny?
lose 8 in a row.
You want to hear something funny? So a couple weeks ago, I went on an 0 for 16 run.
Oh my God!
Gambling, which is really difficult to do, and we had Rob Pizzola on, and I had been texting with him the night before when I went 0 for 16, and he came on and he said, "By the way, I did the math. I figured it out." He said that's 50,000 to 1 to go 0 for 16.
I know you should have parlayed your opposites.
And Ryan Sense, who owns Funky Buddha Brewery, heard that. And my wife texted me as I was driving over here today. We got a package in the mail. Ryan had made for me
Gamblers and
wine glasses that say 1 in 50,000. And he said in the note, it says, when you gamble and enjoy your Aperol Spritz, here's a little something for you to drink out of. So I have a 1 in 50,000 wine glass.
By the way, our good friend Zach Krantz just texted me. He wants a cut because Racing Boats PR is back in business. Back on the radio.
Finally, guys, Gino, I think you'll love this. The Tarts Bowl is introducing 3 new mascots this year. You remember last year, edible Pop-Tart mascot changed the college football landscape forever.
Except it wasn't really the edible Pop-Tart mascot.
Just everybody knows Pop-Tarts. Everybody enjoyed them. I mean, come on.
But it's just, they did this whole thing that it's the first ever edible mascot. They had a Pop-Tart mascot all game long. And then at the end, it was just a giant Pop-Tart and we had to pretend like that was the mascot we saw. And it was such false advertising.
On Pop-Tarts.
I'm not hating on Pop-Tarts.
So what are the new flavors for the mascots? Solana. Hey, you're
Frosted.
over here doing a show.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, what are you
around.
doing, Solana? We're talking to you.
I'm here.
It's your bit. I'm asking you. Who are the other people?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why he's like a monkey who gets he's following the bright light around.
I didn't know we could rip grits in here. My guy just pulled one out. Frosted hot fudge sundae.
It's a smoking
What's
place.
Grits? What's Rip Grits?
Heater.
Grits.
Huh?
Cigarettes.
Lung dart.
Yeah.
Yeah, little dart.
It's
a
cigar
smoking place.
You want a dart? You want me to get you a dart?
No,
Gino?
no. I love cigars. I just
like Swisher Sweet.
Brushing my teeth 5 times after to get rid
of a
them.
grape Swisher Sweet.
Yeah. Solid in an MD 2020 on ice.
Give me a Cisco and a Swisher Sweet. I'm good to go.
Old E800. 8-ball. Give me a quart.
Brass Monkey.
Frosted hot fudge sundae.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Frosted wild berry sundae.
I'm a fan of the berries.
I don't like
it.
No.
Yeah. That's white frosting. The first one's the chocolate cake and then the dark frosting.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You just said you liked it.
No, I like the chocolate sundae one.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't like the berries.
The first one. Come on.
Yeah. And the third, this is where it gets, a little cutesy, as Hawk would say, a mystery flavor. And the MVP of the game is going to get to decide which flavor gets consumed by the winning team.
Ah.
What about a fig? What about a fig?
Like a Fig Newton?
Like a Fig Newton, but top tart.
Yeah, sure. If you want to sell 5 total. I mean, a fig?
Have you ever had cooked figs? Unbelievable.
A fig.
Unbelievable.
I mean, you got to be kidding.
A fig's a fruit.
Yeah, I know what a fig is.
No, you don't.
I've had Fig Newton.
You think SpaghettiOs is pasta?
It is. Pairs nicely with an Aperol Spritz.
So bad.
Your weather from the Demesman and Dover Law Firm. Call them 866-954-MORE, youraccidentattorneys.com. Free consultations 24/7. A little bit of rain right now, but it's supposed to subside. So we're supposed to have clear weather tonight here at Tabacon in Plantation.
Very good.
You know what? I love the weather report. Normally people probably go to weather.com and have something on their computer. This is the forecast. Solana just looked outside. Yeah, cloudy.
Most
rain.
Most of the time, his weather report is, it's pretty nice out. That's what he says, and then he continues on as if that was a genuine weather report.
For 5 months of the year, you should just say, it's hot as you know what outside. Let's move on.
Gino, I thought the moon was a star. The hell are people listening to me for the weather? That's on them.
Fair point. It's a fair point.